All right, welcome back. We're here for another episode of Two Plain Sports after a big day for Oklahoma football. A couple surprises showed up, couple reassurance, and finally the drama's over on one kid. And just how strong Brent Venables and his staff have closed out this signing day for the 2022 class. Honestly, if you would have told me, after, that guy that left back in November, and we would have been top 10, a top 10 class, a higher rated class than we've had in the past 3 years, I think Brandon told me before we started. That's pretty impressive. So we're just going to recap who signed today. A surprise linebacker signed with the Sooners. A few guys that we talked about prior, and they finally, affirmed their commitment to the Sooners. And we just want to say we really appreciate it. We've been growing like crazy. If you hadn't already, hit the subscribe button, like the video. It helps us grow. It helps us get more people in here that think the same way as we do and bring in some different opinions also. And, if you don't want to look at us, I don't blame you for not wanting to look at Brandon. Go on Spotify, go on Apple Podcasts, and follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Everything's all at Two Plain Sports. Go like, follow, and listen on there. I mean, you watch it on YouTube and go watch it and listen to it on Apple Podcasts. So you can hear it twice. So
do it all day long
on repeat, and just comment everything that you think about. But so the first guy we're going to talk about, I guess we'll just briefly mention, is Brady Braun. He's a five-star punter. Brandon wasn't excited about him, but you know what? I've been harping on special teams, and I am pumped for a special teamer. Who isn't, a five-star punter according to the Coles ranking?
It's our highest ranked recruit, if I recall correctly.
What is the Coles ranking?
I don't know, but
no one knows what it is. It's not a real thing, but it is fun. And I do like getting good punters too.
Can you name another five-star?
We do like getting punters. He's not a five-star in anything, but
he's
Coles.
A five-star. Brum just said so.
Yeah, everyone's talking about not having a five-star in this class. Well, here we are. We got one. Brady Braun.
Brady Braun.
Turk's our guy.
I hope you hit some bombs for us. I do. I will be a huge fan of you.
He will. So
he's gonna kick it over them mountains over there.
Yeah. So
kick it out of the palace.
Yep.
It's good to get him. Someone that we need, to provide some depth and be ready for the future after Turk leaves. So someone that we've talked about, gosh, it's been months and months and months. The saga has ended. Gentry Williams put pen to paper today, and he is officially a Sooner. He's locked in over the last week or two. He made some tweets and basically made us feel a lot better. But now it's official. Gentry Williams, he's a four-star. He's an athlete, but he's a defensive back, number 92 overall, number 11 cornerback in the 2022 class, according to 247, the number one player in Oklahoma. He is now a Sooner and someone that I'm pretty excited about. Brandon, what do you think about Gentry? I mean, I feel like we've talked about him a lot. We don't have to go really in depth. It's just more getting this over with.
It's awesome. It's awesome. As you like, important thing is we kept the top player in the state. Not only that, we kept, his parents were Sooners. And as Venables mentioned in his presser today, whereas we all three on this show came out and said we thought he was going to flip to Florida or US. We all picked somewhere else. I think you and I had Florida Brum, and I think Hose may have had Southern Cal with their whatever connection that he had with the DB coach there. I'm glad that we were all wrong on this one, missed it. But Venables kind of talked about in his presser today is like he kind of felt the whole time like Gentry wanted to be at OU, and I think he said that we would have had to really screw up to not retain him or keep him committed. He made us sweat it out a little bit by not signing in the early signing period, but it's worth the wait, worth all the work. I think he's going to be a pretty special player for us. I'm glad he's signed and it's official.
Yep.
Yeah. Jose, that's all you got?
Yeah. So Brandon said it all. I think it just shows too, like the way that Venables is recruiting. He how confident he feels and the relationships that he's building. They asked him today about like ever having aspirations to the NFL, and that's just not a thing he wants because he wants to build relationships with these guys, which is cool.
Yeah, no, it's good to see him. He's locked in. He'll be on campus here very soon. We don't have to worry about anything at this point. and it's good to lock down the number one player in Oklahoma. So now basically someone that we've talked about a little bit, and then it kind of trended away from the Sooners, and then he signed today, and he's kind of the surprise linebacker, in my opinion, is Kevonte Henry. He's 6'4", 225 pounds, out of California, another California Sooner.
Cali Sooners.
We were once told that the state was closed to leaving for Oklahoma, but anyway, he's a 3-star, but according to actual 247's ratings, he's a 4-star. So it just depends on where you look at. He was basically between Arizona and Oklahoma. He was committed to Michigan for a long time, but that was pretty much a non-committable actual commitment. It's just more of a formality at that point. But he's a Sooner, and that's someone that Brent Venables, Todd Bates, and his coaching staff were able to convince to become, join the program. And I think it's a huge win. And we can't turn away linebackers. We need more and more and more along that front seven. Jose, what do you think about landing Henry and kind of this? It's a good National Signing Day surprise.
Yeah, I think he probably started reconsidering his commitment to Michigan when Sean Nua was moved over to USC. And from what Kevonte said today, he just wanted to move away from home and grow up as an individual. And he didn't want to turn down the opportunity to play with one of the best defensive coaches in college football, which who can blame him? I think we said the same thing about Drew Sanders when we were talking about him. Why would you want to turn down one of the best defensive coaches, and especially at the linebacker position? He's put so many players in a position to be a top draft pick for teams in the NFL. So I think he made the right choice. At the end of the day, he wanted to leave for himself, and he's going to be hopefully very successful at college. Now that position is going to be very competitive moving forward at Oklahoma, because we have so much depth already before he committed, and especially at the pass rusher position too. There's plenty of guys there to compete against. So it'll be fun to watch who's actually going to be the starter over the next few years, because I have a suspicion that even though a lot of these guys have 3 or 4 years left of eligibility, we're going to be seeing some mix up as time goes on.
Yeah, I think Jose, with his last point, is kind of the most important thing that I was going to bring up too. That linebacker room is loaded now. Just all around. And whoever comes out starting at linebacker for the foreseeable future for Oklahoma is going to be pretty darn good. And having beat out a lot of pretty talented kids in order to get that position. What I like a lot about Henry, probably my favorite thing about him, is his size and frame. He's listed at 6'4", 225. So he's not necessarily limited to anywhere as far as like linebacker, D end. I think he will be able to have some versatility and kind of play where needed, or where he may have the best opportunity to see the field, which will be very beneficial, obviously, for him while as a Sooner. And I think on his Twitter profile, he listed himself as a DN / linebacker / running back. So I think he played a little bit of running back too, maybe. He's obviously very athletic, and I think his size, being at that 6'4", 225, he's not too small to be a D lineman, and he's not too big to run around the field at linebacker. And I think that's going to help him out a lot.
Yeah, how can you turn down the opportunity to be either coach? You got Brent Venables, and you've got Roof, and then you've got Todd Bates, Coach Miggy or Chavis, or however you want to say his name. You've got all this great coaching talent, and why wouldn't you want to go? But Jose, I think you're right. I think with Sean Nua leaving Michigan, I think the communication broke down, and he wanted to leave California. So he didn't want to go to the Trojans. So I don't blame him though. So very excited about him. 6'4", like you said, Brandon, he can kind of go anywhere. He might put on some weight and go play on the edge or play inside. It just depends on where the Sooners need him. So another guy, we've talked about him, and this was expected, is Gracen Halton. He's 6'3", 270-pound edge or defensive lineman in the 2022 class. He's a 4-star, number 257 overall, and the number 34 defensive lineman in the class. This is someone we expected, but honestly, if you would have mentioned his name about a month ago, Most Sooner fans, including myself, would have no idea who this was because he was once committed to Oregon for basically an entire year, and then obviously with Mario Cristobal going to Miami, and that turnover, it opened the door for the Sooners to come in. The old coaching staff never really approached him, and Brent Venables and his staff gets in, and he's one of their first calls, and they swoop in and get him. It's kind of crazy to think that he was on campus for the first time just a few weeks ago, and he put pen to paper. Brandon, what do you think about the Sooners and what they're getting in Gracen Halton? I'm extremely excited about him, and it's just shows how well the Sooners are recruiting to close in on a guy within a couple weeks.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. And me and Jose were talking before we started recording. Well, you were, I don't know, playing with yourself or something because you weren't listening to us. But that's our favorite of the four that signed today, or the four that we're going to talk about. We both pegged him as our favorite get, I guess, of the day. Whenever we landed him, I think it was J.R. Sandlin. Yeah, I think it was J.R. Sandlin, but I could be wrong. It was somebody on the OU, staff. They labeled him as quarterback assassin. Could have been Coach Miggy, and I was like, right then, I'm sold. And he has the frame to be exactly that quarterback assassin. The speed, the size. I think he's gonna be special for OU for a long time.
Yeah, definitely the guy I'm most excited about for the class, like Brandon said. And Coach Miggy also posted in that same thing where he called him the QB assassin. He also said that he's got the size and ability to play anywhere on the defensive line, just depending on probably the opponent, whoever he's playing up against, which kind of made me think of what we all expected Brownlow Dindy to be whenever he was committed to Oklahoma. And I don't think we're really going to see that big of a drop off in the performance that we were expecting at one point from Gabriel. Now I think Gracen can do the exact same thing. People just weren't aware of him because, like you said, we weren't recruiting him very hard because we were, the pass regime was focusing on 5 stars and highest ranked players. And this guy's going to be, I think he's going to be a problem for people that we're going to face for the near future. I would expect him to be competing for a rotating spot next year.
Yeah, I mean, it's impressive. And, he went and visited Miami with the Oregon coaching staff or whatever went over there with Cristobal. And even with them going, the Sooners were able to sell him, better on what their vision was for him, even with that connection with Cristobal for over a year. It just speaks to the volumes on what they're doing right now. So another guy that honestly OU, a month ago would have no idea who it was is our Mason Thomas. He's a 6'2", 215-pound edge out of Fort Lauderdale High School. He's a 3-star, as a composite 3-star, but he's a 4-star according to 247. So, 3 or 4-star still. I'm going to just go with 4-star because I feel like he started coming on later, and maybe I'm slightly biased, but
we're okay with it.
Yeah, so another guy along the defensive line, I believe, if I remember the timing of it, Coach Miggy got hired on after obviously Venables brought him over, and Moten and Thomas were a couple of his first visits and first offers Coach Miggy ever gave out. And obviously the Sooners lost out today on Moten, which was Thomas's teammate, which is no big deal. But they were able to close out Mason Thomas from Iowa State. He was committed to Iowa State for a long time, visited a few other Power 5 programs like in Kentucky. So they were, again, able to land a talented guy that really started coming on late in his senior year and getting rated higher and higher and higher. And they were able to close him out. Jose, what do you think about our Mason Thomas and the fact that they were able to beat Iowa State out and, Kentucky and Miami and South Carolina?
Yeah, I think Coach Miggy put his foot to the gas pedal and just went to work as soon as he got the job, because he was one of the first position coaches that we got to move over from Clemson. So he was working now for 2 months, just as long as Venables has, and he's doing everything he can to get that defensive line to what his image of a defensive line is going to be for the future at Oklahoma, which is a great thing to see, because as we believe, you win football games in the trenches. And if you can get to the quarterback before he can even look up to get the pass off, I don't think they're really going to win very often, if ever. So hopefully the guy, this is a guy that I would more expect probably being a rotation guy year 2, maybe redshirted year 1, just because the pass rusher position is pretty stacked right now. Benito leaving kind of just opened the door for either Reggie Grimes or Clayton Smith to take over. They're more experienced, are more prepared to play against the competition at a college level. This guy just needs to just get a little bit faster, stronger, go through Schmitty off season to really be prepared to compete for a starting position at some point in his career.
Yeah, I mean, I love about this recruiting class is how defensive minded and focused it was. I know we had some comments on an earlier video where we got the fans I think we're all excited about how defensive minded it is, but people are a little bit concerned that maybe we're not showing enough love to the offense or lacking on the offense, and I don't see that to be the case. I think the offense will be just fine, and I love that we're focusing on stopping people to win games versus just outscoring people, which Venables said today. But Ted Roof also said today that we can't be just one deep at every position. We got to be loaded at every position on the defense, and I mean that's the greatest philosophy to have, and it's really refreshing to see that it's something that we're focused on so much after years of really not acknowledging the defense as much as we should have, to load up on these defensive linebackers and just kind of make sure the best guy plays. And that's kind of how I feel where Arm Mason is going to be, just kind of throw in there, compete, and let the dice fall where they may.
We're also, when we're seeing how when we have defensive coaches that are ready to coach and coach the players up and develop them, they can be monsters. We had players that could have been great players, first round talent kind of guys on the roster before. I mean, we're seeing Perion Winfrey right now get a lot of publicity for his performance at Senior Bowl right now, and it's because he's getting put in a position to succeed. And I think last year we all expected him to have a big year, and he just didn't. Not as big as we expected, at least, because I think the defensive line coaches just weren't able to do the job then. But I have full confidence that these guys are going to be doing the job and developing those guys that we just picked up today.
Yeah. And I love the whole thought, and the philosophy before was they're only going to take around 20 guys, or 18 to 22 guys. That's kind of the size of the class that the old regime was looking for, and all highly talented. This philosophy, like every other, like an Alabama or a Clemson or a Georgia, you take huge classes because you want as much talent and let the best guy win. Whether it's a 3-star that starts for you or a 5-star, it does not matter. You just want the best athlete and the best player to play, and you need more bodies to compete. You don't want guys to think, hey, just because I'm a 5-star, they didn't recruit anyone behind me, I'm the starter, no big deal.
5 stars on their jerseys when they line up to play games, like when Caleb Williams playing quarterback for Oklahoma last year, it didn't say like Williams and below it 5-star 24/7.
Yeah. So it's a good philosophy that I really like where they're heading. The last guy we're going to talk about is another guy that doesn't have a ton of stars, but I think he has a very high ceiling and someone that can be developed to be a star, is Jamarrien Burt. He's 6'1", 175-pound athlete out of Florida. He's a 3-star player out of, in the 2022 class. Someone that, again, we had no idea who this was. He was once committed to Florida, and he was going to be teammates with Jaden Gibson and Nick Evers. And then Lee Davis also came over as the recruiting director for Oklahoma. A lot of Florida to Oklahoma ties, and he visited. Seemed like he had a great time. I saw a picture tweeted out with J.R. Sandlin, and looked like they were having a bunch of fun. And he committed, and it's someone that he plays offense and defense in high school, but I believe he's being recruited more as a defensive back for this coaching staff. I think more of the safety role. Jose, I know we talked about it in depth on a previous video, a couple videos ago, about how hard of a hitter he is that you saw. What do you think about him? I mean, for anyone that didn't see that video.
Yeah, that guy's going to be competing for a starting position. And yeah, he's really talented, but I think he's coming in at a time where, one, we have new coaches ready to put in a new system. And two, I think whenever I talked about him, I compared him to Trey Morrison, the transfer that Oklahoma just picked up a few weeks ago. Both just put their head down and go crack the guy who just caught the ball or is trying to catch the ball. And that's what you need in a safety. If you're scared of hitting, just go play for USC. they'll understand and just move forward. That's just their football style, and I'd much rather have the heavy hitters.
Philosophy.
Yeah, I think
I like him.
Yeah, this guy's he's gonna be competing for a starting spot. If he comes out over Trey Morrison, I would be really surprised, because Trey, I think, is really talented and will have that spot almost locked down. But it'll be those two competing for the openings at the safety position.
It's a bold prediction from Jose on the pod today about a high school senior coming in next year as a freshman and competing for a starting spot. I like it though. When I was looking at Burt and just the way he was described and stuff, they described him as a fast, hard-hitting defensive back. Anytime you put those two words, fast and hard-hitting, and label it with a DB, especially with the size he has and speed he has, yeah, I'm okay. I'm on board. I think I don't see him as a starter or even really competing as a starter this year, as Jose mentioned. But, I think down the road, after a couple of years being developed, working out with Schmitty, doing stuff like that, with that size and that ability to hit people, will definitely be a factor.
Yeah, could Jamarrien Burt be the next Danny Stutzman and compete for playing time and actually get playing time his freshman year? Maybe. I don't know. I think this staff is going to put out whoever plays the best and practice the best, and whoever gives OU the best chance to win. So that kind of sums up National Signing Day. We can move into more of a general discussion about this overall class and where we think where it's heading. So OU finished up right now as, at the top 8. They're number 8 in according to 247 recruiting class in the 2022. I know that there's another guy. Huh?
We're number 8 on 24/7 Rivals and On3. So okay. 3 different outlets have us ranked number 8.
Okay, so
that's pretty consistent.
All consistent. There's one more 2022 target that's still out there, is Josh Connerly Jr. He's a 5-star tackle out of Seattle, Washington. Brandon did say that, it's just an easy drive from Seattle to Norman, so distance should not play a factor in his decision, but he's planning to make his choice in March. Someone to keep an eye on. But so the Sooners finished up number 8 and could move up a little bit more if they land Connerly. But regardless, it's going to be a top 10 class. And I just want to kind of summarize. I mean, think about this. Back in November, early December, that we kind of thought the sky was falling. Lincoln was stripped, taking all the talent, all the coaching staff with them. And then here comes Venables, comes in, rallies the troops, hires a great staff. And here we are. They close out on 4 new guys that we had no idea who they were a month ago. And they were able to retain Gentry Williams. So that's 5 guys, in my opinion, because if Venables and Valai weren't there, I think Gentry would have been gone. So basically, I'm going to credit them 5 recruits that they came in and locked down, and they're all defense. I mean, that's incredible to have a month or 2 to do that. Jose, I'm going to give you the floor first. What do you think overall in this class, where they're heading for 2023, and just what the outlook is in your opinion?
Yeah, well, we can't forget about our guy, Cedric Roberts. That guy, he officially signed today, another defensive lineman. But yeah, I think it's fair to say that a lot of people were definitely the sky is falling mentality after Lincoln left. And clearly everyone is frustrated, angry. People are still angry about Lincoln leaving. And he's not showing that he's a great guy with some of the recent quotes that he's put out about the transfer portal overall. But this coaching staff, not only did they put their head down and work as soon as they got the job. I mean, I think Brent Venables was on a recruiting trip the first full day he was announced as the head football coach, right after that press conference and that big ceremony. He went to Tulsa, I believe. So this dude, he put in the work along with Coach Miggy and everyone that was there on his staff from the beginning. And he hired the perfect guys to come in and bring on more talent, as well as retain the talent that was maybe reconsidering or thinking or looking at other options like a Gentry Williams, because I understand that Venables said he was always confident, but from the outside looking in, it did look like Gentry was at least open to hearing other schools out. At the end of the day, we won, so that's good. But yeah, I mean, Valai, Bates, those are the biggest ones in my opinion. And then I think Coach Miggy is going to have a big impact, and hopefully he gets the opportunity to one day be a co-defensive coordinator for Oklahoma. And hopefully that guy's a guy that we never see leave. But it'll be a fun time next year. Honestly, I think we'll be competing for Big 12 championships a Big 12 championship next year with how everything is looking.
Yeah, I definitely agree with at least competing for a Big 12 title next year. But yeah, like to finish with the top 10 class, number 8, higher than we have been. In 2021, we were number.
Well, Brandon froze. Yeah, I guess Jose, you and I will talk as Brandon comes back and reconnects in. But also in this class, the Sooners took 21 signings from freshmen or incoming freshmen, and they also got 10 transfers. They've got a total of 31 guys according to 247. Oh, Brandon is back.
Yeah, we lost connection there for a minute. We're dealing some snow stuff. Yeah, but the fact that we finished with a higher class than TBOW's past 2 classes in 2 months of work, you're landing 31 total guys, but just to do it in such a short amount of time, really, like Jose mentioned, went from the skies falling to, now we're set up better off than we have been in a while. Just really credit Brent Venables and staff for the job that they were able to do in such a short amount of time. It's really pretty awesome.
Yeah. And what I was going to say with that 31, I really think this is going to be a trend we're going to see quite often with this staff. They're going to bring in 25 to 30 guys a year. I don't think we're going to be seeing the 18 to 22 recruits like we've seen in the past. I think they're going to compete for the highest rated recruits next year. I see the sky's the limit with these guys. I really feel like the last staff, they were flashy. They were able to get the attention of the 5 stars. They were able to land a couple of them, especially on the offensive side. I feel like this staff can catch the eyes of the 5 stars, 4s and 5 stars, but can actually close them out and sell them on the vision of the program. And Caleb Kelly went on to the Teddy Lehman and Gabe Eichert podcast and talked about the philosophy change. And really, he basically said that it's Lincoln and the old staff was just selling the idea of being a first-round pick. We can make you a first-round pick, make you this, make you that. And this staff with Venables and everyone, below him is basically, you're going to become a great man and you're going to become a first-round pick because of that. And everything else will just follow that. And it's not just like we're just focused on the first round and just getting you millions of dollars. Venables is trying to develop young men, and then, their talent will shine through. And I think people believe it with Venables, and he's genuine. And I think that's how he sells these guys, and Bates and all them. They can do the same. What do you guys think about that? I really liked what Caleb Kelly had to say, and I think the philosophy makes a lot of sense.
It's a night and day difference as far as philosophy and stuff goes like that. I couldn't agree more. Brent Venables, since day one, like the first thing he brought up with, first thing he mentioned was pretty much building relationships, building, connections with recruits, current players, families. Like, I think it genuinely matters to him. And he was asked, in the past why he's never considered like an NFL job. And he literally said, because the NFL is too
transactional. That's what he was going to finish. But yeah, it's a breath of fresh air. And I think at the end of the day, it's going to make the whole team better. We might not see, a class like A&M under Brent Venables' staff and led staff, because they're focused on building relationships, and that just, you can't build a relationship with every single person that you ever meet. They might try to recruit every single 5-star. It's just not going to happen. That's just a matter of fact. And I think what we will see happen is these guys are going to be playing for each other and their coaches, and they're going to love playing for Oklahoma. They're going to love their teammates. They're going to be family at the end of their time at Oklahoma. And just playing, think about it. Whenever people are just playing pickup basketball, if you're playing with your friends and you're having fun, and you're, at the end of the day, you're probably going to win more often than not if you're having fun and playing for your friends than you are just because you're being selfish and trying to get your stats up to be a first-round draft pick. Or if you're, again, when you're playing just pickup basketball or pickup ball in any way, if you're just trying to be selfish and catching all the touchdowns or scoring all the baskets, you're going to lose, because that's just not a winning mentality overall. So it's just going to be, when are we getting number 8? Not, are we getting number 8 at any point?
Yeah. Brandon, I was just going to say, the one thing also I guess I forgot to mention is, yes, this staff closed out 5 of these recruits today, but also Jaron Kanek is a product of Brent Venables as well. I don't want to forget mentioning him, but I mean, I'm excited. Do you guys have any final thoughts or anything about this class and what you're seeing coming up, or anything you want to add? No. Okay, Brandon, do you have an end of video challenge for everyone that's made it this far?
This should be a fun one, because obviously we're talking about the 2022 recruiting class now that it's, almost pretty much all said and done, or pretty much said and done. I've mentioned Jaden Rowe as the kid I think is going to be the best of the 2022 recruiting class / my favorite of the 2022 class. What is your guys' favorite commit in this class, whether it be a transfer guy or a guy coming out of high school? Comment your favorite recruit in this class.
Yeah, that's a good one. I would imagine we're going to see some varying opinions and reasons why. But really, if you made it this far, we appreciate it. Hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, like the video, and comment, and let us know what you think on Brandon's end of video challenge. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Find us on Apple Podcast and Spotify. Everything's all at Two Plane Sports. It'll be in the links will be in the description below. And we're going to be starting doing more in-depth analysis of recruits that just signed in our Who Dat series. We've got a bunch of requests earlier last month on different videos we're going to do this off season. There's a lot of good stuff coming up, and we want you guys to stay and just keep up with it. So turn on the notification bell.
We might bring on some of these head coaches too. Some of these recruits head coaches. It's in the works.
Yep. So that's the game plan, and we really appreciate it, and we'll catch you in the next one.